Something interesting has been happening in the weight loss world over the last few years.
Yeah, you already know Ozempic, Wegovy, or Zepbound are dominating the conversation.
Right. Thousands of people start these GLP-1 medications every month. But what's fascinating in the data isn't just the scale moving, it's that a totally unexpected positive side effect is emerging.
Their food noise completely disappears.
Exactly. It completely shifts the paradigm. If you've been on the diet roller coaster, you know the exact metabolic slowdown and the guilt cycle we're looking at in these sources today.
So our analytical mission for this episode is to look at the clinical research and uncover exactly why these medications reduce those intense sugar and processed food cravings.
Right, because for decades, the medical community framed the central challenge of weight loss as, well, a simple lack of willpower. But obesity researchers are finally emphasizing that appetite regulation is driven heavily by biology.
So why does that happen biologically?
Which brings us to what's actually happening under the hood. These drugs mimic GLP-1, a naturally occurring hormone produced in your gut after you eat.
It's basically a biological multi-tool,
Yeah, it taps your hypothalamus on the shoulder to say we're full.
and it puts the physical brakes on your digestion so food sticks around longer.
It also levels out your blood sugar. But reading the literature, the mechanism that genuinely surprised me is how it rewires the brain's dopamine reward circuitry.
Wow, yeah. When researchers put patients in an MRI and showed them pictures of highly palatable foods like chocolate cake, the reward centers of their brains were practically dark.
Which usually light up like a pinball machine.
Exactly. That neurological shift is huge. It targets those powerful urges that hit at 9 p.m. when suddenly the peanut butter jar is calling your name from the pantry.
The urgency to eat just fades.
Is that why people often misunderstand how these drugs work?
Yes. Because of that dramatic shift, it's easy to see why people misinterpret how these medications function. It isn't just simple appetite suppression. It literally calms the neurological pathways related to reward anticipation, making patients feel more able to just pause before eating.
And yet, assuming cravings will vanish identically for everyone is a major misconception we see in the clinical data. Genetics, baseline metabolic health, and diet still play massive roles.
Plus, the medication cannot replace lifestyle changes. That's a critical error patients run into,
You still have to do the work.
even if the biological hurdles are lowered.
So how are patients adapting for long-term success?
From the research, we're seeing a shift away from using GLP-1s as a quick fix.
Right, a medically supervised program has been getting attention recently.
That holistic approach combines physician oversight, medication management, nutritional guidance, and behavioral support.
It makes sense when you map out the realistic timeline of treatment. In weeks 1 through 4, you typically see reduced appetite and maybe mild side effects like nausea.
Then during months 3 through 6, you start seeing steady weight reduction and adjustments to eating patterns.
But beyond 6 months is usually where progress slows into a plateau.
That is precisely where muscle preservation and nutrition become critical to maintain metabolic health.
And the clinical consensus is clear. If the medication is stopped, those hunger signals gradually return.
It's a long-term biological management strategy, not a temporary cure.
Summarizing our key takeaways for this episode, cravings are fundamentally biological, and GLP-1 medications target multiple metabolic and neurological systems simultaneously.
It's a profound shift in how the medical community understands weight, which leaves you with something to mull over. If brain chemistry controls food noise so heavily, how much of your past diet frustration was purely a chemical mismatch rather than a lack of willpower?
Exactly. And while researching this topic, one medically supervised GLP-1 program kept appearing in patient discussions and case studies. If you are exploring your options, you can find a link in the description to learn more about the program mentioned in this episode.